So now that we have all of the baseline settings that we need in the camera for live streaming, let's dive into some of the best settings that you will probably want to use if you're going to do any kind of Zoom or Google Workstation type of meetings or even just regular videos. I'm going to show you some of the basic things that you can do. We're still going to be sticking with the Sony ZV E10, but you can follow along with whatever camera that you're using. The first thing that we want to do is come down here to the second tab over on the first page, and we will come down to record settings, and of the options available, we want to choose 30 frames per second. Now, whether or not you choose 1080p or in 4K for the file format is solely going to be a preference. For this demonstration, we're going to be sticking with 1080p, but if you have a 4K capture card, feel free to select the 4K option. If you gently press the shutter button on the front of your camera or the button you would use to take a picture, then it will bring you back to your main home screen. Now, if you turn the back dial, you'll notice that this number that looks like a fraction, this is called the shutter speed, will begin to change. Because we're at 30 frames per second, we want to set this to 60 or 1/60th of a second, because that's what we're going to use for the shutter speed. The top dial button here is going to be what's called your aperture. This is going to dictate whether or not you have a blurry background or not. The lower this number is, the blurrier the background. Depending on the lens that you have will dictate how low these numbers can go. We're using the Sigma 16 in this demonstration, so we can go all the way up to really large numbers here, or we can come down to f1.4 if we want to stick with the demonstration. So let's do f1.4. The next thing that we'll have here, we're going to press the right directional button to get our ISO, and this is going to help when it comes to light sensitivity. And what we want to do is move this number up or down until we figure out what is the best settings for our skin tone. A great way to figure out what should the ISO be after you have adjusted the settings, things could be looking a little weird on your camera, is to hold your palm up facing the inside of your hand. When you have your palm up, you want to be able to see clearly defined details in your hand. You don't want this image to be too dark, and you don't want it to be too bright. And so overall, you can pretty much see details in my hand. There's not any what I call hot spots, so no super bright spots in the hand. Again, I would encourage you to get more detailed training when you're learning about video, but this will kind of help you figure out what to do. If we look at this number down here at the bottom that says MM for multimetering, this will tell us if the image is starting to get a little too bright or a little too dark. So let's say we go up to 640 on the ISO. Now that number is set to plus 1.7, and that will let us know that the camera is saying, hey, you're getting pretty bright here. Something that's about a 0.3 or 0.7 is fine. So let's say we went to 320. Now we're at a plus 1. This is okay, but still a little bit maybe too bright. So let's bring it down just a smidge more. Let's see what 200 would do. So this is now where we're starting to get into that plus 0.7. And if we take it down just a little bit more to 160, we can see now we're at the plus 0.3. And so you really want to adjust this to taste. So if we take a look at what this image actually looks like on the camera, then we can see what these settings would do. There's a lot of information on, and this could be just slightly overwhelming if all of this is new to you. Again, I highly encourage you to go through a walkthrough video that'll show you what all of these icons mean and everything like this. I really just want to help give you a quick start so that you're able to get some good settings on your camera. That way you can go ahead and stream if you need to today and test things out instead of waiting and going down the road and hopefully trying to figure stuff out later. So here's what I mean when I say when you hold your hand up, you don't want to see any bright spots. This image looks a little different because this is what I usually use when I'm using this camera. But if I hold my hand up, I can still clearly see all of the details of my hand. If this image was way bright or way dark, then the multimetering down here will tell me. I don't want that number to be too bright or too dark. Even the lights in the back, you can clearly see them without them being what's called overexposed or far too bright. One last setting that I want to bring to your attention is what's called the white balance. This will dictate if your skin tones and the overall image looks normal or if things start to look a little weird. The first thing is this priority set in AWB, which is automatic white balance. Automatic white balance will let the camera dictate what the overall image does. Now this looks a little bit different. The colors don't look as accurate and true to life as they could because the white balance is impacting the coloration. When we change this to AWB, you can see as we're going through all of these different options that are available, a lot of these will change the way the overall image looks. So sometimes it may literally just be that your white balance is out of whack, and so that's changing the way that things look. I prefer to set this to a very specific number so that it makes sense and matches the image of what I'm using. For this demonstration, we'll come over here to the custom temperature, which is set at 4,500 kelvins. And the more we go up this number, the warmer the image becomes. The lower we go down this number, the cooler this image becomes. But based on my lighting, and this is a different training for this kind of information, but we won't go too deep on here today. Whatever it is that, let's say your LED light panels and things that you use, you want to set that specifically there. And so if you need to, go ahead and set that to automatic. But for me personally, I prefer to set that customized. I'm going to change mine from standard to an ambience again, because that does impact on how cool this tends to be just a little bit here. Now, when it comes to lighting, that's very, very important. You can use something like people like to use the Elgato key lights. I like to use a set by Viltrox. There are literally a ton of lighting options available. I just encourage you to get something that's good and use something that has what's called diffusion, which means it's going to soften that light so that it doesn't look like a flashlight is shining on you. It's more so as if it was a cloudy day and that image is kind of a bright. That's what you want in your environment when it comes to your lighting. And when it comes to the white balance settings, I'll use what's called here a gray card, where you can hold this up in front of your camera, take a picture of it. Your camera will actually read that information and it will tell you what that best environment setting is so that you actually look normal. Sounds a little advanced, but this is something literally as simple as taking a picture in the camera. The camera does the rest of the heavy lifting, but that's something, again, I would encourage you to get into more details if you're going to use your mirrorless camera for live streaming, because once you set it, you can forget it.